The Twa Dogs. 'Twas in that place o' Scotland's isle that bears the name o' Old King Coil, upon a bonny day in June, when wearing through the afternoon twa dogs that were na thrang at home, forgathered ance upon a time. The first I'll name, they called him Caesar, was keepit for his honour's pleasure. His hair, his size, his mouth, his lugs, showed he was nane o' Scotland's dogs, but whelpit some place far abroad, where sailors gang to fish for cod. His locked, lettered, braw brass collar showed him the gentleman and scholar. But though he was o' high degree, the fainte pride, nae pride had he. But wad hae spent an hour caressin', even wi' a tinkler gypsy's messin', at kirk or market, mill or smiddy, nae taughted tyke, though ever sae duddy, but he would stant as glad to see him, and stront on stanes and hillocks wi' him. The tither was a ploughman's collie, a rhymin', ranting, raving billy, wherefore his friend and comrade had him, and in his freaks had Luach called him. After some dog in Highland sang, was made lang syne, Lord know how lang. He was a gashin' faithful tyke, as ever lap a shug or dyke. His honest, sonsy, bonsant face agant him friends in ilka place. His breast was white, his toesy back, weel clad wi' coat o' glossy black. His gossy tail wi' upward curl hung o'er his hurdies wi' a swirl. Nae doubt but they were fain o' ither, an unco pack and thick together, with social nose whiles snuffed and snokit, whiles mice and mootywarts they howkit, whiles scoured away in long excursion, and worried ither in diversion, until wi' daffy weary grown, upon a knowe they sat them down, and there began a long digression about the lords o' the creation. Caesar. I've often wondered, honest Lua, what sort of life poor dogs like you have, and when the gentry's life I saw, what way poor bodies lived avay. Our Lord gets in his racked rents, his coals, his cane, and his stents. He rises when he likes himself, his flunkies answer at the bell. He ca's his coach, he ca's his horse, he draws a bonny silken purse, as lang's my tail, where, through the steeks, the yellow-lettered Geordie keeks. Frae morn to even, it's naught but toilin', at baking, roasting, frying, boiling. And though the gentry first are steechin', yet even the ha-folk fill their peachin', with sauce ragouts and sick-like trashtry, that's little short o' downright wastry. Our whipper-in wee blasted Warner, poor worthless elf eats a dinner better than ony tenant man his honour has in a' the land, and what poor cot folk pit their pension, I own it's past my comprehension. Lua. Troth, Caesar, whiles there fashed enough, a cotter howkin in a shug, with dirty stains big in a dyke, bearing a quarry and sick like. Himself a wife he thus sustains, a symmetry o' wee duddy weans, and naught but his handarg to keep them right them right and tight in thack and rape. And when they meet with sair disasters, like loss o' health or want o' masters, ye maist wad think a wee touch langer, and they mun starve o' cold and hunger. But how it comes I never kenned yet, they're maist live wonderful contented, and beardly cheels and clever heesies are bred in sic a way as this is. Caesar. But then to see how ye're neglected, how huffed and cuffed and disrespected. Lard, man, our gentry care as little for delvers, ditchers, and sic cattle, They gang as saucy by poor folk as I would by a stinking brook. I've noticed on our lard's court day, and mony a time my heart's been wae. Poor tenant bodies scant o' cash, how they maun toll a factor's snash. He'll stamp and threaten, curse and swear, he'll apprehend them, point their gear, while they maun stand with aspect humble, and hear it all, and fear and tremble. I see how folk live that hae riches, but surely poor folk maun be wretches. Lua. They're no sae wretched an wad think, though constantly on portith's brink. They're sae accustomed with a sight, the view o't gives them little fright. Then chance and fortune are sae guided, they're aye less or mair provided, and though fatigued with close employment, a blink o' rest's a sweet enjoyment. The dearest comfort o'er their lives, their grushy weans and faithful wives. The prattling things are just their pride, that sweetens all their fireside. And whiles 12 penny worth o' nappy can mak the bodies unco happy, they lay aside their private cares to mind the kirk and state affairs. They'll talk o' patronage and priests, with kindling fury in their breasts, or tell what new taxation's comin', and fairly at the folk in Lunnon. As bleak-faced Hallowmas returns, they get the jovial, ranting kerns, when rural life o' every station unite in common recreation. Love blinks, wit slaps, and social mirth forgets there's care upon the earth. That merry day the year begins, they bar the door on frosty winds. The nappy reeks with mantling ream, and sheds a heart-inspiring stream. The London pipe and sneeshing mill are handed round with right goodwill. The canty old folks crackin' crouse, the young uns rantin' thro' the house. My heart has been sae fain to see them, that I for joy hae barkit with them. Still, it's o'er true that ye hae said, sic game is now or aften played. There's mony a creditable stock o' decent honest foursant folk are riven out baith root and branch, some rascal's prideful greed to quench. What thinks to knit himself the faster in favour with some gentle master? We aiblins thrang a parliamentin', for Britain's good his soul indentin'. Caesar. Hath, lad, ye little ken about it, for Britain's good faith I doubt it. Say rather, gone as premiers lead 'em, and sayin' aye or no's they bid 'em. At operas and plays paradin', mortgagin', gamblin', masqueradin', or may be in a frolic daft, to Hague or Calais takes a waft, to make a tour and tak a whirl, to learn bon ton and see the whirl. There at Vienna or Versailles he rives his father's old entails, or by Madrid he takes the route, to thrum guitars and fetched without, or down Italian vista startles, or run huntin' among groves o' myrtles. Then bows he's drumly German water, to make himself look fair and fatter, and clear the consequential sorrows, love gifts of carnival signoras, for Britain's good, for her destruction, with dissipation, feud, and faction. Lua. Heck, man, dear sirs, is that the gate? They waste sae money a bra estate. Are we sae foughten and harassed, for gear to gang that gate at last? Oh, would they stay aback frae courts, and please themselves with contra sports? It would for every and be better, the lard, the tenant, and the cotter. For they frank rantin' ramblin' billies, faint hate o' them's ill-hearted fellows, except for breaking o' their timmer, or speaking lightly o' their limmer, or shooting o' a hare or moorcock. the ne'er a bit they're ill to poor folk. But will ye tell me, Master Caesar, sure great folks' life's a life o' pleasure, nae cold or hunger e'er can steer them, the very thought o't needna fear them. Caesar. Lord, man, were ye but whiles where I am, the gentles ye would ne'er envy them. It's true they needna starve or sweat thro' winter's cold or simmer's heat. They've nae sair work to craze their banes, and fill old age with grips and grains. But human bodies are sic fools for all their cottages and schools, that when nae real ills perplex them, they make enow themselves to vex them. And aye the less they hae to sturt them, in like proportion less will hurt them. A country fellow at the plough, his acres tilled, he's right enow. A country girl at her wheel, her dizzon's done, she's unco weel. But gentlemen and ladies worst, when even down want to work are cursed. They loiter lounging lank and lazy, though dale hate ails them, yet uneasy. Their days insipid, dull and tasteless, their nights unquiet, lang and restless. And even their sports, their balls and races, their galloping through public places, their sick parade, sick pomp and art, the joy can scarcely reach the heart. The men cast out in party matches, then souther in deep debauches. Aye night they're mad with drink and whoring, nice day their life is past enduring. The ladies arm in arm in clusters, as great and gracious, all as sisters. But here their absent thoughts are there. There are rundales and jades together, whiles o'er the wee bit cup and platy they sip the scandal potion pretty, or lee lang nights we crabbit looks, pore o'er the devil's pictured books, stake on a chance of farmer's stackyard, and cheat like any unhanged blackguard. There's some exception, man and woman, but this is gentry's life in common. By this the sun was out o' sight, and darker gloaming brought the night. The bum clock hummed, wee lazy drone, the kye stood routin' in the lone. When up they gat and shook their lugs, rejoiced they were nae men, but dogs. And each took off his several way, resolved to meet some ither day.